Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome po sa DPWH Sorsogon 2nd, Payawin Gubat Sorsogon. Today is January 16, 2026. Scheduled for today's pre-bid conference is for the contract 25 FL0127 with contract name Rehabilitation, Reconstruction of National Roads with slips, slope collapse, and landslide. Tertiary roads, Ariman-Casiguran Road from kilometer 608 to 280 to kilometer 608 plus 380. Mr. Present here today for today's pre-bid conference are the following: Levy D. Purab, Jr., Back Chairman.
Present.
Dave P.L. Back Vice Chairman. Present po. Gloria F. Balleros, Back Member.
Present.
Erwin S. Ensenares, Back Member.
Present.
Jessel Warren Media, TWG Head. Abby Rodriguez, Representative from Planning and Design Section. Glenn Alicio, Back Secretariat. Mr. Chair, for today's pre-bid conference, meron na po tayong quorum and wala pong present na contractor here today.
Okay, since the quorum was declared, this pre-bid conference is now called to order. The agenda for this pre-bid meeting are as follows: basic contract data, requirements, bidding documents, eligibility criteria, documents to be submitted by the bidder, including technical and financial proposals, criteria and procedures for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, and award. Summary proceedings, including bid bulletins to be issued, and questions, comments from bidders, and replies back and other representatives of procuring entity, and other matters. To discuss the basic contract data is Engineer Abby Rodriguez.
Basic contract data 25 FL0127. Contract name Rehabilitation or Reconstruction of National Roads with slips, slope collapse, and landslide. Tertiary roads, Ariman-Casiguran Road, kilometer 0608 plus 280 to kilometer 608 plus 380. Contract location, Barangay Naagtan, Gubat, Sorsogon. The approved budget for the contract, or ABC, is 21,905,000 pesos. Source of fund, FY 2025 RA Special Purpose Fund. Contract duration, 319 calendar days. Predetermined unworkable number of days, 61 calendar days. The cost of bidding documents is 25,000 pesos. Submission of bids is scheduled on or before January 29, 2026 until 10 a.m. Opening of bids, January 29, 2026, immediately after closing receipt of bids. The major category of work, the code is RCS-PS. Scope of works. The scope of work for this project includes the construction of 300 mm thick revetment type slope protection, together with a 200 mm thick structural concrete facing to the revetment, and the construction of pile caps with steel sheet piles. It also includes the construction of structural line canal, as well as other miscellaneous works, such as thermoplastic pavement markings and the installation of street lighting. Objective: to prevent soil erosion, protect infrastructures, and improve drainage. Here's the sample of geotag photos for contract 25 FL0127. The Certificate of Non-Coverage, or CNC, released on December 10, 2025. The sample of geotechnical investigation, detailed engineering design plan for contract 25 FL0127 with station limits kilometer 608 plus 280 to kilometer 608 plus 380 with a net length of 0.10 linear kilometer. The vicinity map or location map. The summary of quantities. And the schedule or detail of solar street light. The traffic management plan. And the profile. The cross-section. And the typical details of the plan.
Requirements of bidding documents. Ang mga documents kung ito ay nakapost po sa DPWH websites and PGEPs to aid our contractors in preparation of their bids. Ang documents kung ito ay instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, data sheet, specifications, drawings, bill of quantities, and sample forms. Yan po ang ating data sheet. Special conditions of contract, bill of quantities. Lahat po yan nakapost po sa DPWH. So, I didn't isa-super na lang po ang download na files. Minimum work experience requirement for key personnel. For project manager, must have handled infrastructure project. For project engineer, must be an accredited DPWH project engineer. Materials engineer must be a DPWH accredited materials engineer. General construction foreman must have handled similar projects. Safety and health officer must have undergone 40 hours basic construction, safety and health training. Minimum major equipment requirement, dump truck, 1 unit, payloader, 1 unit, bulldozer, 1 unit, backhoe, 1 unit, crawler crane, 1 unit, backhoe hammer, 1 unit, motorized road grader, 1 unit, vibratory roller, 1 unit, water truck, with pump, 1 unit, cargo service truck, or models, 1 unit. Key points po are criteria for award shall be the lowest calculated responsive bid. The amount of advance payment is 15% of the total contract price to be made in lump sum. All progress payment shall first be charged against the advance payment until the latter has been fully exhausted at the option of the procuring entity. The contractor shall submit the program of work to the procuring entity within 10 days of delivery from the notice of award. The amount to be withheld for late submission of the updated program of works is 21,905 pesos and 50 centavos only. Submission and repeat of bids. Our bid validity is only 120 calendar days. Yan po, first, we shall use po yung 2-envelope system. The first envelope containing eligibility and technical requirements, while the second envelope shall be composed of the financial proposal. Ganyan po. Each envelope shall contain the name of the contract to bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient back, procuring entity, and the markings not open before the date and time of the opening of bids. For copy 1, ganun din po. Each envelope shall contain the name of the contract to bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient back, procuring entity, and the markings do not open before the date and time of the opening of bids. Lahat po yan ay naka-enclose din po sa isang envelope. Unsealed, unmarked bid, not compressed and password protected shall not be opened. Improperly sealed and marked bids, properly compressed and password protected, shall be accepted. Bid modifications. Before the deadline of submission of bids, bidder shall not be allowed to claim its original bid. Submit new bid equally sealed, properly linked to its original bid and marked as modification. Dapat po ang mga modifications shall be submitted before the deadline of the submission of bids. For letter of withdrawal, the letter of withdrawal must be received prior to the deadline of submission of receipt of bids. For bids withdrawn within the interval between the deadline and the expiration of bid validity, the bid security shall be forfeited. For electronic bid, submission of bidder shall be sent another bid equally secured, properly identified, and labeled as a modification of the one previously submitted. Meron po tayong submission of 2 modes of submission bids. For manual submission of bid, yan po sa back secretary office, DPWH Sorsogon, Barangay Payawi, Gubat, Sorsogon. For electronic submission of bids naman po, ayan sa electronic bids _Sorsogon 2 at dpwh.gov.ph. Eligibility criteria. To be eligible to participate in the bidding in the said contract, the following persons and entities shall be allowed to participate. Duly licensed Filipino citizen for sole proprietorship, partnerships duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, and of which at least 60% of the interest belongs to the citizens of the Philippines. Corporations duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, and of which at least 60% of the outstanding capital stock belongs to the citizens of the Philippines. Cooperatives duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, or persons, entities forming themselves into a joint venture as per section 52.4.2.1 of the RA 12009. Foreign bidders may be eligible to participate in the procurement of infrastructure projects when provided or under any treaty or international or executive agreement as provided in section 4 of the Act of RA 12009. Bidders must have a valid PCAM license, must have a single largest completed contract similar to the contract to be bid of at least 50% of the ABC. The single largest completed contract shall be supported by the owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner or other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES or similar performance and monitoring system. Contractors under small A and small B categories without similar experience, provided that the cost of the contract to be bid is not more than the ARCC of registration. Bidders must have an NFCC at least equal to the ABC. Eligibility and technical documents to be submitted by the bidders. Class A legal documents, PhilJAP certificate of registration, PCAM license, statement of ongoing government and private contracts, statement of SLCC, computation of the NFCC or joint venture agreement. Meron po pala tayong, we encourage our bidders to enroll in our civil work application to facilitate the fast evaluation of their bids. If hindi pa sila naka-enroll sa CWA, ito po ang mga documents ang kailangan. Bid security in the form of cash or manager's check, bank draft, bank guarantee, 2%. Surety bond callable upon demand, 5%. Or you can submit po yung bid securing declaration. Please be guided po ng ating panibagong format ng bid securing declaration as per RA 12009. Project requirements, organizational chart for the contract to be bid, list of contractors' key personnel, list of contractors' major equipment units owned, lease or under purchase agreement, omnibus sworn statement. Please be guided po ulit ng ating RA 12009 sa format po ng ating panibagong omnibus sworn statement. Project requirements, the mandatory submission of latest general information sheet, GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC for Corporation. Sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership, following the template in the Annex A for all bidders, including sole proprietorship. Include ISO 9001-2015 certification of its latest version as applicable in Department Order number 110 series 2024. So, nag-expire na po na dapat po ng January is ang mga medium A, medium B, large A, large B na categories ng PCAM license is dapat po ISO certified pa sila. Please be guided ulit ng ating additional documents as per checklist po and for additional requirements ng BDS, latest GIS, dapat po receive po ng SEC, and the sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership. Dapat po meron po kayo nakatouch niyan sa technical deeds niya. So, tsaka po yung ISO. Okay. Statement of SLCC, okay na yan. Yan po ang sample natin ng ating bid securing declaration. Please be guided na lang po. Financial proposal shall be, ang laman naman po niya ay bid form, summary bid prices in the bill of quantities, detailed estimate including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of materials, labor, and equipment, cash flow by quarter, month, payment schedule, other documents required in the bidding documents. For the evaluation of bids, detailed evaluation bids, the purpose was to determine the lowest calculated bid, establishing correct prices in the bids, ranking calculated total bid prices from lowest to highest. The method and non-discretionary criterion shall be used, which will include consideration of completeness of bids and minor arithmetical corrections. Results shall be contained in the abstract of bids. In case of discrepancies, between bid prices and failures versus bid price and worst, bid price and worst shall prevail. Total price per item versus the unit price for the item times the quantity. The unit price for the item times the quantity shall prevail. Stated total price versus the actual sum of the unit prices, component items, the actual sum of prices of component items shall prevail. Unit cost in the detailed estimate versus the unit cost in the bill of quantities. Ang prevail po is the unit cost in the bill of quantities. Reminders po ng ating no contact rule, provision on communication with bidder from bid evaluation until the award. However, the back po, pwede po silang magtanong in writing for clarification ang mga kanilang needs. Purpose qualification. Ang purpose po is to determine whether the lowest calculated bid complies and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents to be declared as the lowest calculated responsive bid. A method po is a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion shall be used to verify, validate, and ascertain all statements and documents submitted by the lowest calculated bid. Okay. Common reasons for bidders disqualification po. Late submission bids without valid reasons. Submission of patently insufficient bid. Under po niyan, meron pong submission of expired certificate of PhilJEPs. Mga license po, kung minsan po expired, maski po yung nasa likod niyang documents po may expired. Failure to include certificate of employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm and curriculum vitae. Kung minsan po, kulang, wala pong notarized na contract agreement. Failure to submit the required bid form. Dapat po yung updated pong bid form natin. May isa ka lang pong clause na mawala din sa bid form mo, considered non-responsive na po ang iyong bid. Submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to non-inclusion or omission of mandatory provision or statements. Yan na nga po from the bid form. Submission of bid form, bid securing declaration, omnibus form, statement, joint venture agreement without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. Nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents. Failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012. Failure to comply with the requirement, minimum number of key personnel and equipment. Failure to submit proof of ownership. Ito, para ito. Lease or purchase agreement of pledged equipment. Insufficient NFCC. Insufficient single largest completed contract. Thank you.
Okay, meron po pong tanong, clarifications, questions? Wala na. Since we have no more matters to discuss, this pre-bid conference is now adjourned.